So, hello to the penultimate round of the Academy series in Mexico. Unfortunately, we don't have the defense minister of in Mexico here, but alongside me is Edward Hunter, and the covers is being done by Joshua Dexter.
Yes, thanks very much, Kurt. It's great to be here and to see two races of Academy action about to be unleashed with our 22-strong Academy field. Some really strong drivers as we look at Michael Falkenhayn, of course, winner in race one last time out, if I'm not mistaken. Very quick over a single lap, and one of the favorites to take pole here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, named after the Rodriguez brothers, the Mexican duo that pioneered racing in the country, and both made, of course, two Formula One and sports cars respectively. Were very successful before, unfortunately, being sadly losing their lives in race cars at very young ages, essentially. But the circuit stands a bit of a monument to them. Was revived in recent years after sort of being off the F1 calendar since the early 90s. And it's a very interesting layout, essentially, isn't it? With a very long main straight leading into the first chicane, which is a good overtaking opportunity. And then there's a couple of tighter sections, in particular the stadium section that you just see Charlotte Menick exiting now in her Academy vehicle as well. So this should be an interesting one. Should challenge a lot of the drivers, and it's been off the GPV main calendar for a couple of years, isn't it? I think we missed it last year, and we haven't raced in Mexico since 2022, essentially, in Super League, Super Lights, and all the main championships, essentially. So Academy is getting a nice little treat here on a circuit that a lot of them won't have driven for a little while.
If the car isn't like very enjoyable, then I would say the track is. Of course, as you talked about track names, like description, how has it got its name? Then today should have been commentating alongside me Juan Rodrigo as well, but yeah, some issues has encountered him, and yeah, I'm also happy to have Ed alongside me, so I don't mind who's alongside me. At least I'm not alone.
No worries. I don't mind either. I was just given a late-minute call-up about that. Rodriguez's not here. You have to jump in. So fair enough. And I hope I'll try and do as good, maybe not quite as good a job as Rodrigo would have done, but I'll try and make it seem as seamless as possible. And to that end, I'm going to stop talking about the fact that I'm a substitute and just get on with the qualifying session. And it's very tight at the moment. Look at Jordan Weeks' first time on the board in the opening exchanges here. 129.662, 4 thousandths of a second ahead of Michael Falkenhayn. So Falkenhayn has got Weeks, of course, who was very impressive last time out as well, giving him a real challenge for that pole position. We see Slaviev is also fastest in the first sector as well. So a lot of drivers that aren't too far off challenging for pole position here.
Yeah, as we see Samuel Slaviev, first sector purple. Let's see what he can do for the rest of the lap, and maybe not do something
all four
like
wheels
this.
off track.
This is an invalidation. Unfortunately.
That's a really tricky section, isn't it, Kurt? Because that's essentially the sort of S's section. We have one at Circuit of the Americas, we have Maggots, Beckett's Chapel at Silverstone, and this is sort of Mexico City's equivalent of that, which is essentially the turn 7 onwards, essentially, if I remember correctly, the corner name. I'm trying to remember the corner names off the top of my head. I think, yes, it's 7 onwards. I've remembered it exactly. It's sort of right near the beginning of Sector 2, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You saw real problems for Samuel Slaviev. He just went right to the outside and carried a little bit too much speed on exit, and the car simply, maybe it's not got enough downforce on it, because of course you don't want to be losing any time down the straight, but he just was not able to get it turned in without going off track. As you see Falkenhayn not able to improve despite going faster in the first sector. As we see Gonzalez Green is, or Gree as it says on the timing screen, is setting purple times in the first and second sector. So this could be a very good lap cut.
Yeah, talking about the S's again. S's are quite smooth section of the track, but easy to make a mistake. As in the last corner, as we saw Alexander Gonzalez Green doing it and rising up to P3, almost getting the pole if he shouldn't have hit the wall there.
Yeah, middle sector, very, very strong, 35.166 for Gonzalez Green, who, of course, has had a few substitute drives in FS2 as well, hasn't he? Where he scored some points. And here's another FS2 point scorer from last substitute drive of the season, I believe, at least last scheduled substitute drive of the season, which was at Singapore, where Charlotte Menick scored 15th place in both races at Singapore for the Hunter Boat simulation, which, of course, is a very proud moment for me to get Charlotte her first points in Formula Sprint 2. Let's hope they are the first of many. Of course, already a race winner in Academy this season. And you notice, again, very, very wide onto the green stuff as she lines up the car for the final corner. But Charlotte down in 8th at the moment, 9/10 of pole. She gains another 2/10 and gets up to 7th then. So Charlotte Menick starting to find the time that she needs then as the session goes along.
Now Samuel Slavev, same place and same mistake.
Ooh.
But this time, unfortunately, ending his lap in.
He lost that
wall.
much earlier on. You notice he
Yeah.
sort of almost deliberately decided to spin out there as we cut to Jerry Cook, who is trying to get back ahead of Charlotte Menick in the battle for 7th position on the grid.
Maybe on Samuel's car, maybe a gust of wind.
Possible. It doesn't really show on race view what the wind speed is. Jerry has a little moment there.
Yeah, 2 wheels on the over the sausage curve, and then the grip isn't that good. Yeah, so I wouldn't suggest doing that.
There's Weeks, of course. Did the job early on at the present moment with that 129.662, which is currently still good enough for pole position. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of track evolution, at least for the front runners anyway. It's really the midfield that are starting to get their act together as the session goes on. Here's Falkenhayn, 2/10 quicker in the first sector, just about gets it turned in with 2 wheels kept on track through the S's then. So Falkenhayn is set up very, very well. Let's see as he gets to the end of sector 2 what the split's going to be, as he just about avoids disaster there, but he is absolutely on the edge. Fantastic to watch, Kurt.
Yeah, Falkenhayn, maybe if he doesn't now frick up his lap, then it should be provisional pole, at least for now. But
I'm going to interpret that as bricking up his lap rather than anything else that you may have said there.
Yeah, a bit of Rodrigo, but he has backed off. Okay, weird.
It looked a bit to me like actually through in the stadium section in turn 12, it looked like on the exit he went a little bit with all 4 wheels off track there, so maybe that might have invalidated the time. As we cut to Martin Reitberg, of course, a reverse grid winner in Academy in the past, and now trying to get out of 15th position. Of course, 15th is that magical reverse grid pole slot for race 2, but for race 1 you certainly want to start as high up as possible to give yourself the best chance of impressing all these team owners that may be looking for new drivers next season. I know when I was looking for my FS2 lineup for this season, I was watching a lot of these Academy races, especially Joe Gillette winning 4 of them made a big impression, and I was able to get him for this season, and that proved to be a very, very good driver choice, along with some of the others, of course, who've impressed as this season has gone along as well. As we cut back to Slaviev, having a much cleaner, not so fast in the first sector, but much cleaner in the middle, as he's now just 2/10 down, but up on his personal best. So he's looking good to maybe cut the gap to Gonzalez Green, or at least he was, until he got a bit too early on the throttle and just spun up the rear tyres over the curb there.
Just a little bit of wheel spin, and maybe a gust of wind could have helped doing that half spin, but Samuel after that half spin does not improve his time. But
interesting, we're getting gusts of wind considering the altitude here. Whoa, as Tom Lafont does a 4-wheel drift through 5 and 6 there.
Yeah, pretty lucky escape. Looks like everyone is quite struggling with the rear. wind is
I'm not
picking
sure.
up.
I'm not sure, by the way, what's happened to Tom Lafont's name entry here, because he seems to have put hashtag 2427. But he is, of course, in the yellow car, which is car number 8 by default then. But anyway, this looks like it could be a lap that puts him slightly higher into the top 10. A little bit of air from the curb at turn 14 into 15. He goes Nigel Mansell corner, which, of course, is the renamed Peraltada, the final half of the Peraltada. And no, he does not improve. That middle sector was 3.5 tenths down, and that's really what destroyed that lap there, as there's just 2.5 minutes left to go, and Falkenhayn has to abandon once more very early on in the S's there.
Looked like he made a mistake, and a little mistake could ruin your lap quite quickly here, because it's all so flowing, and at the same time could be so tricky. And Alexander Gonzalez Green, first sector, purple, with 1.5 tenths up on Jordan Weeks' time. Let's see what he does in sector 2 and getting into this very flowy section and also quite tricky.
And let's not forget Gonzalez Green in race 2, filling in for Apex Grand Prix at the United States, was able to get into 6th position, helped a little bit by kerfuffle involving Craig Patterson, I think it was Ben Skinner, and both of my drivers, all 4 of them coming together basically and allowing Alexander to just slip through. But the American having a very, very good lap here. Extremely strong in the first sector, only 7 thousandths off in the middle. Can he get close to Falkenhayn and Weeks here as he crosses the line? He beats both of them. 129.594, and with just over a minute to go, that could be our provisional pole time, Kurt. Fantastic lap from Gonzalez Green there.
Looks like Jordan Weeks has already invalidated his lap one pretty early on. And he's trying to...
He's got time to get another one in.
Yeah,
he's close enough. Luckily, it's only a 90-second lap. I say only 90 seconds, but anyone coming out the pits now is certainly going to fall short.
Yeah, Falkenhayn now. Can he take the pole away from Alexander Gonzalez Green? Or is it going to be
the wall
Weeks?
there on exit of the final corner? So the pressure is very much on here. Falkenhayn wants to show that he is the fastest over a single lap. He's certainly impressed people with his speed, although not necessarily have the best luck in the reverse grid races as well. But certainly if Falkenhayn can get to the front, it's very likely that he will be able to stay there. Into the first chicane he comes, and he hits the apex very, very nicely before hooking up for the second part of the chicane. And I think he pretty much nailed that exit. Looked spot on there, Kurt.
Yeah, looks like Falkenhayn is not leaving any room.
Very good middle sector for Jerry Cook, who goes 4th fastest then, just 83 thousandths behind Michael Falkenhayn. So lucky escape there for Michael. He needs to nail this lap if he wants pole position though, as he goes a little bit too wide off track, and that could be it.
Let's see if the sector 2 time comes or not, because it was 50-50 situation there. Is it invalidated or not? But seems like Falkenhayn is still pushing on.
Yeah, and he's one of the only one in the top 5 that is. I think Simon Kanda is still out there as Falkenhayn mounts the curb. He's 82 thousandths down in the middle sector, so it's all or nothing. He might even fall short of Gonzalez. Going to have to settle for second against Weeks here, even if he does improve. It looks like a decent final sector. I don't think it's enough for pole. And indeed it isn't.
Yeah. So, a pole position for Alexander Gonzalez Green, it seems like.
It does. Eric Kamedi, personal best in the middle sector, actually down in 15th. So Eric, who of course is part of Hunter Boat Simulation. Let's see if the Italian can get up a little bit closer into towards the top 10, as actually he completely drops it out of the final corner. So I think Eric has signed up quite late to this one. So he will, to be only 1.6 seconds off the pace, I think that's not too bad for Kamedi.
Yeah, just losing the car at the end. So, pole position for Alexander Gonzalez Green, followed by Jordan Weeks, 68 thousandths of a second behind Alexander Gonzalez Green. Third is Michael Falkenhayn. Him and Weeks' gap was only 4 thousandths of a second, so really little margin. Fourth is Jerry Cook, followed by Samuel Slavev, Jimon Kander, Alfie Denley, Kenneth Reuting, Charlotte Menning, Tom Lafont. Followed by Adrian Senior, Matthew Maple, Juho Tsekko-Sopanen, Christoph Bierskolan, Erik Kumadei, yeah, Adam Guzik, Martin Rieterg, Christian Scarpelli, the brother of Domenico Scarpelli, of course, very popular name, Lanor Rahim, Kyle McManus. And two last drivers are Mark Anthony Razanayagam, and 22nd we have the time unfortunately is James Taylor. So how do we recap qualifying? For me, definitely it was quite exciting, and Weeks' and Falkenhayn's time were with a so little cap, so yeah, the margins aren't like huge here. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, certainly that was sort of the early part, and literally it was first lap for both of them that was their best between Weeks and Falkenhayn, and then they kept just making mistakes and weren't able to get anything better than that banker lap in. The late improvements came from Jerry Cook, who did quite well to get his car into 4th position, of course. Jerry Cook, I believe, another American driver, a little bit less experienced than... In fact, this is his first event as well in GPV, so he is definitely inexperienced. But Gonzalez Green has got to be the headline story there. Stealing pole position. He looked pretty nailed on for 3rd, and then he just absolutely hooked up the lap with just a handful of minutes left to go, and nobody could quite match that. So Gonzalez Green, who, of course, is yet to take a win in Academy. His best result was 4th in race 1 at Singapore. He's got a brilliant chance to lead from the front here at Mexico City, but of course there's a long run into the first corner. He needs to make sure he doesn't get slipstreamed by either Jordan Weeks or Michael Falkenhayn behind him, because those have got to be the two threats to him in race 1.
Yeah, definitely. So me and Edward will take a little rebriefer before race 1. Let's see what happens there, and let's see what happens in turn 1.
race coming up.
So we are back. We took a sip of coffee, and now we are ready to go again. And still no Rodrigo in sight.
You sound almost relieved, which is slightly concerning there, Kurt, about our friend. But
well, Rodrigo might hurt me on the broadcast because his language is getting quite aggressive sometimes.
all right, yes, he does get very excited, and I think the FIA president Mohammed Bin Salman will probably not take a dim view of Rodrigo there.
Oh, not.
We should make up our own words that were sort of go-tos instead of swearing. So, like, he's bricked that car. Or
This is a family-friendly stream, everyone.
yes. In my household, my family has a thing where they just say, "Oh, we smurfed it," and they'll often sing random like cover versions of songs. Like if a song is too depressing, they'll just put the word Smurf or Smurfed into it, or make some reference to Papa Smurf or Smurfette. It's bizarre, but anyway. It has no relevance to what we're about to see whatsoever. I thought I'd just try and lighten the mood. But anyway, 22 cars going to do battle, and for Gonzalez Green, Alexander Gonzalez Green, of course, taking his first Academy pole position. This could be a big moment for him here in Mexico City, because if he nails this start, then all he's got to do is just basically do 14 qualifying laps here.
Yeah. Gonzalez Green just needs to survive, I guess.
Easier said than done, especially with that long run. All the drivers behind are going to get a big slipstream going into that first sort of... it's almost like a two-part chicane, isn't it? Where if you survive the first part, you've got to worry about them trying to come around the outside of you in the second part. So hopefully everyone is sensible and they all get through okay. But this is Academy, and looking at history, it doesn't bear that out.
Yeah, I felt it quite many times, so I know the feeling. So, rounding, here's our starting order. First is Alexander Gonzalez Green, taking pole, of course. Second is Jordan Beats. Third, Michael Falkenhayn. Fourth, Jerry Cook. Fifth, Samuel Slavev. Sixth, Jimon Kander. Seventh, Alfie Denley. Eighth, Kenneth Reuting. Ninth, Charlotte Menning. 10th, Tom Lafont. 11th, Adrian Senior. 12th is Matthew Maple. 7th row is Juho Tsekko-Sopanen and Christoph Pierskolan. And 8th row is Eric Mardey and Adam Gurzi. 9th row is Martin Rietberg. 18th, Christian Scarpelli. And 10th row is Lano Rahim and Kyle McManus. And 11th row, aka final row, then is Mark Anthony Rosanna Yagam and James Taylor. I'm stuttering a bit because English isn't my main language, of course. So.
Don't worry,
apologies.
As McManus already starting to cut the track before the race has begun, which is slightly concerning as he goes through the S's at half speed.
He's thinking about the available strategies, how to overtake on this track.
Possibly, yeah. It is one of the trickier ones to overtake, but let's see if Academy can be creative, essentially, here. The stadium section particularly is quite hard to pass in, but also first sector, you've really got to nail them into either going into turn 1 or going into turn 4 are probably the two best opportunities on the track, maybe into 12 if you're lucky as well. But this will be a bit difficult to commentate on because Gonzalez Green and Weeks are both in black and grey cars, essentially. So they look near identical, but of course, Gonzalez Green on the left-hand side from the race driver's perspective, so on the outside, whereas Jordan Weeks will be on the inside off the racing line.
Yeah, talking about creativity, then Academy doesn't disappoint. Trust me. Trust me on that one.
It looks more like some of the my Cub Scouts creative projects, though, in terms of creativity being a bit of a mess rather than something all that coherent. But you never know; those at the front might do a slightly better job of it.
Let's see. So everyone is lined up. And here are the starting lights, 5 red lights, and it's go in Mexico for race
Ooh.
1. And Alfie Denley gets a drive-through penalty because of a false start.
Yeah, there we go. He's making the most of it, though. Most people back off when almost apologetically when they realise they've jumped the start. But Alfie Denley has immediately taken the lead, and now we see back up the inside goes Gonzalez Green and makes contact, and that is. Oh no! What a mess there! Oh dear! All of our top 4 crash into each other. I said that hopefully the top runners would keep it clean.
And
They have
someone's
not
in the
done
wall.
so.
A lot
So
of
that's
cars.
So Simon Kanda has taken the lead somehow out of that in his yellow Academy car. Gonzalez Green is second, Jerry Cook third, Alfie Denley fourth, and Charlotte Menick fifth.
Yeah, looks like Alexander Gonzalez Green just knocked Jordan Weeks into a spin, and the chaos began from there.
But it all started with Denley jumping the start there. That was really, and this of course means Denley is almost certainly going to have to come in for a drive-through penalty at the very least for jumping the start. So that's going to promote Menick and Tom Lafont into 5th and 6th. And Falkenhayn, of course, who really lost out, took a lot of damage at the start there being squeezed. He could get it back into 6th as well. As James Taylor is swarming all over the back of Mark Anthony Rassanayam.
Yeah.
Going around the outside of him now, and Rassanayam does not leave enough space for Taylor, who overtakes by cutting the track. I still remember Lando Norris getting in trouble for that. And it's like Kenneth Roting that just hit the back of Taylor there.
Yeah. And we need to still remember that James Taylor...
Oh, that was Rassanayam. That was Rassanayam.
And James Taylor started from P22 and is P9 already with two laps.
Yeah, that chaos, he certainly steered clear of it and got himself into 9th position there as he just passes Lionel Rahim as Roting dives well up the inside of, I think that was Eric Kamadi actually diving up the inside of Roting and now going off track in that orange car as well. Sorry, I'm getting very mixed up. Kamadi's in the red car, of course, and it's Roting in the orange. And here Kamadi now fancies a go, at the back of Lionel Rahim.
Yeah, trying to do a Daniel Ricciardo, doing a dummy move, like double dummy move. But Alexander Gonzalez Green is already leading the race once more. Looks like
he's got back ahead of Kanda then.
Looks like main straight and slipstream has helped him do that.
Yeah, and of course we saw Alfie Denley go into the pits. He's re-emerged in 17th position. Slavev was another one that really lost out at the start there. He was right in the melee, had to pit for a new front wing and has come out 22nd and last. Jerry Cook, unexpectedly, is now in the top 3, so 2 Americans on the podium, and Jerry Cook has sort of got his hands full holding off Charlotte Menick, of course, who's also in turn having to deal with Tom Lafont and Michael Falkenhayn behind her.
Yeah, definitely already third lap of this race, and we've seen a lot of action as Matthew Maple is holding his wheel not straight, so he definitely has some suspension damage, but holds on. As we have our first retirement as well, Christoph Golan.
Maple. And that was Jordan Weeks. That was Jordan Weeks then alongside Matthew Maple.
It's James Taylor.
Oh, there we go. Taylor makes another mistake then. Oh dear. And Maple, that looked almost like a deliberate takeout there if I didn't know any better. But yeah, a little bit messy. Our Academy field certainly not giving each other the required respect.
Yeah, not nice. We need, if possible, with replay we can see why has this happened.
Here we go. I've decided to mute Josh Dexter. I think his dad's coming to argue with him. But yeah, that was extremely unnecessary from Matthew. Obviously, angry after the incident with Jordan Weeks, wasn't he, at the first couple of corners? But he took it out on James Taylor entirely unnecessarily there. That was a little bit beneath Matthew Maple, I think.
Yeah, maybe he got it wrong because there were a lot of cars same color, so yeah. He maybe got it wrong. But here's
Possibly.
Jerry Cook and Shimon Kanda going at it.
John Weeks is in a black car. Unless he had some kind of previous grudge, then it felt a little bizarre there. As we look at Lena Rahim has gotten back ahead of Eric Kamadi, and this is Christian Scarpelli, of course, got the podium in the reverse grid at Singapore and is now all over the back of Alfie Denley, who's just gotten past him.
Yeah, looks like Christian Scarpelli isn't easy give up and still pushing, as we see now Tom Lafont and Falkenhayn fighting for 5th position.
Interesting comments in the chat, by the way. Caitlin Penny says, deliberate contact is bloody stupid. Kaikira says, Tuamela lives as an idea. I think Noah Tuamela is very much actually alive, as well as Lena Rahim is right behind Jordan Weeks, and Weeks goes all over the curb and off track there, as they're all fighting behind Eric Kamadi now, just outside the top 10 here. So this is effectively our reverse grid positions, with reverse grid pole currently held by Christian Scarpelli, of course.
Yeah, looked like a big battle, a train of 5, 6, I don't know, but yeah, a lot of cars are in a train here, so it's going to be a slipstream train here, so yeah, very high top speeds we can see.
Here we go, Weeks side by side then with Lena Rahim in this fight for 11th, and Jordan Weeks gets ahead there, but they're giving a great tow to Martin Reitberg, who's going to try and go up the inside of Rahim himself then into the first corner, and Lena Rahim just about breaks in time to avoid hitting the back of Weeks, clobbers the curb, and then saves a massive slide there. So Rahim certainly having some adventures out on track today, but Reitberg not able to take advantage, and that's put him into the clutches of a very quick Alfie Denley is up the inside, and
Weeks.
No room for Weeks on Eric Kamadi there.
Yeah, now Weeks has an opportunity to get the reverse grid pole to salvage something from today, as Samuel Slavev now takes the fastest lap away from Alexander Gonzalez Green, and we've thought of a nickname for Alexander Gonzalez Green, AGG, or Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think I might go for Speedy Gonzalez. The race has panned out. So despite losing out to Kanda in that chaotic start, Gonzalez Green has now gotten back ahead and built up a 2.5 second buffer to Simon Kanda here. And Kanda in turn is now starting to feel a bit of pressure from Jerry Cook, who has dropped Charlotte Menick to the tune of 1.9 seconds. And here we go, Reitberg is having another go at Rahim. This time he gets the inside coming out of Nigel Mansell corner and on to the main straight as they start lap 6, and Alfie Denley fancies a piece of this action as well. Rahim tucks right behind, gets back to the outside. Here comes Alfie Denley.
Already based on top speed or straight line speed, doesn't matter which one you prefer, but yeah, looks like on straight line speed Alfie Denley just it's an easy overtake on people when it's on a straight. So
Rahim diving back on Reitberg into turn 4, gets well over the curb and just about avoids spinning out. Meanwhile, Carl McManus has hit trouble and has fallen to the back of the field. So Slavev has, after sending the final lap of the race, has at last gained a place after having to pit at the end of the first lap, as Alexander Gonzalez Green sets another purple sector, this time in the middle sector, as he pulls in that sector alone 8/10 clear on Simon Kanda. So Gonzalez Green is absolutely flying out there.
yeah, no stopping Speedy Gonzalez for sure. But yeah, looks like Matthew Maple gets a penalty.
And that's a big blow for Matthew, but probably deserved after the almost deliberate looking contact we saw earlier. And that means, of course, that he's going to lose out in that battle for the reverse group pole, which is currently held, like you said earlier, by Jordan Weeks, who's 1.7 seconds behind Christian Scarpelli then. Here we go, Alfie Denley once more under attack, this time from Eric Kamadi. We saw a comment in chat that Kamadi is walking his dogs, I think was the phrase I heard. And here we go, very, very close to contact with Alfie Denley as he pulls to the outside. That was very brave, actually, from Camedi, the Italian, retaking 10th position.
It's not done yet, as Alfidelli does a switcheroo and takes the position back, at least for now. But Eric Kumadi has now the inside line for next corner, but let's see who comes up in front.
Very physical from Camedi.
Looks to be, for now, Alfidelli, who stays in front and keeps his position. As at the back, there is a 3-car fight for, well, it starts from provision.
Oh, look at that from Scarpelli. Around the outside of Lane or Raheem at the S's there. And Raheem, just about avoids crashing into the back of him as well. It's a fantastic fight here. And this is essentially the loser of this battle is going to get reverse group hold here, essentially. So this is to sort of decide who can finish a little bit closer towards the top 10 there. But Weeks sort of made a double move, and now these two are having to sort themselves out on their own. Spectacular bravery, though, from Christian.
Yeah, looks like as well Christian Scarpelli is having some networking issues, so his steering is a bit questionable. But yeah.
You know, I had networking issues too at university, but it's just all about meeting people and getting to know the right contacts. Here we go, up the inside again. Reitberg now fancies a go at Eric Camedi, who just does not look all that quick in a straight line, trying to hang it out around the outside. Reitberg leaves just enough room, and Camedi sweeps around the outside, but also through comes Jordan Weeks, who's trying to make another 2 moves in 1 there. Fantastic from Jordan.
But Eric Camedi doesn't let go still, as there is a bit of contact.
This is chaotic. Camedi just about slides and keeps the car together as he goes off track there. But that means Weeks has gone up to 11th then. Next target, Alfie Denley, 2.6 seconds up the road, but the gaps in some 7th through to 10th are starting to spread out. The close fights are Falkenhayn, who's 7/10 behind Charlotte Menick. Reitberg, as you can see on screen, all over the back, and then getting it very wrong indeed, which is going to open the door for Christian Scarpelli and Lenor Rahim. And potentially, Rahim now in that reverse grid pole position.
Yeah, it looks like no one wants to, on purpose, wants to slow down to get that provisional pole for next round.
Oh, you say that. There's somebody going into the pits there, and that must be... Oh, it looked like Reitberg just really struggling, and he's complaining with the steering there. He's not happy at all.
Looks like some damage or just high tire wear, and Kyle McManus looks to be getting a penalty drive-through, maybe for track limits, as he hasn't done really anything.
I think what he has done has not been a particular glorious. Look at this, Matthew Maple again making a bit of contact with another driver. This time he has a nibble at the back of Lenor Rahim, and the Dutchman Rahim doesn't seem too impressed either. So we've got Rahim and Reitberg, who are sort of in a very unenviable position where Maple can't steal track position because of his penalty, but he can certainly make life hard for them. Meanwhile, Jerry Cook is still half a second behind Simon Kander, who has soaked up the pressure in 2nd position very well. Kander, of course, qualified 6th, really profited from that chaotic first couple of corners to get into the lead, and is now definitely looking very comfortable to finish on the podium, as that's bold from Rahim, but there's no rave through on Reitberg there.
Let's hope they don't make contact, because it's easy to put under driver into a spin when you are behind him with your front wing, and here goes Lano Rahim.
Very, very wide from Reitberg there. He almost sort of saw Rahim steaming up the inside and thought, right, I'm not going to fight this one.
Yeah, looks to be he took the easy way out and not really crashing. Didn't want to crash with Lano Rahim, let's say so.
Fastest man on track, still Jordan Weeks, who set the purple final sector last time out. He's lapping in the 1:30.5s.
But here comes Martin Rydberg.
Here we go.
Rahim.
But Rydberg retakes the place then. All this fighting is not only getting Matthew Maple involved, but James Taylor, I think. Oh, no, Taylor's about 16 seconds. I think that's the lapped car of Carl McManus I can see in the background there. So not a threat to any of these three then. So I guess they are just free to fight amongst themselves. It would be interesting to see the battle's a bit further up as well, because Falkenhayn, as I say that, and dive from Matthew Maple, who, like I say, is not really, with his penalty, in contention with either of these two. He's sort of ruled himself out. As look at this, Falkenhayn makes a dummy move and pulls the inside on Charlotte Menick. Menick tries to hang it round the outside. That's very bold from Charlotte Menick as she returns to the racing line. She's trying to back Falkenhayn into the path of Tom Lafont here. So very, very close battle in the final few laps for 4th place here.
So it's a three-way fight for P4, so it's definitely a battle to look for, as looks to be Falkenhayn being in Menning's slipstream to possibly overtake him into turn 1.
Overtake her, I think you mean.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. And she's trying to do it on the outside, but Charlotte Menick breaks very, very late into the first corner. Will this compromise her exit for the second part of the chicane, as Tom Lafont looks very, very enviously at the back of the green car of Falkenhayn. Matthew Maple is also in the pits now as well to serve that penalty, I guess, just to get it out of the way. So that unleashes, frees up Raheem and Reitberg to just worry about themselves. Jordan Weeks continuing to catch, he's passed Alfie Denley for 10th now. He's trying to catch Juho Cheko Sopanen for 9th, as this freeway fight could become a 4-way fight, as Adrian Senior is only about 3 seconds in arrears and slowly starting to catch them in the 32.5s, whereas Charlotte Menick and Falkenhayn are in the 1:33.9s essentially at the moment.
If they battle quite often, then yeah, they lose quite a lot of time per lap, and this gives even more possibilities for Senior to catch up with them and also fight for P4, possibly.
Yep, as just 2 more laps to go then. And once more, Charlotte Menick able to, for the moment, use all of her wits to keep Falkenhayn behind, but Falkenhayn gets once more a lovely toe down the straight, pulls to the outside. Will Menick be able to outbrake him this time? No, because Falkenhayn has pulled across to the inside. Charlotte tries to go for the outside, very, very deep into turn 2. Look, she's just got so much more confidence on the brakes, and Falkenhayn once more finds himself backed into Tom Lafont as we see a lapped car leading them all through. I believe that's James Taylor.
It's James Taylor, as Menick goes a bit wide. And here's Tom Lafont. Oh, contact there. And still not giving up. And Tom Lafont's through on Michael Falkenhayn. So Tom Lafont says, "Thank you, I'll take that, and let me try as well against Menick."
He got a bit fed up that Falkenhayn couldn't get through and decided, right, it's my turn now.
Yeah,
I'm coming through whether you like it or not. And yeah, Paul Michael Falkenhayn bumped out the way. He might even still be sustaining damage from that first lap melee as well. You never know. So that could be affecting him right now. But luckily, of course, still a little gap to Adrian Senior in the similar lime green car. 3 seconds behind, as Eric Kamadi's gotten himself a penalty. Oh dear, and the man in 12th, that is really going to affect the reverse grid draw as well, because Kamadi was only about 3 seconds ahead of Raheem, who's currently in that position now.
Raheem as well gets a penalty.
Well, okay, well that's that out of the window. Maybe Matthew Maple will be able to get into the top 15 reverse group poll after all at this rate, with the amount of penalties his opposition are cooking up for breaking the track limits one too many times. Let's look at this. No luck for Tom Lafont either, as Jerry Cook is very, very close to the back of Simon Kander in the fight for second.
Yeah, even for the podium positions, and nothing is clear. But the battle for P1, there is no battle, so that's clear. So here we see battle for P2 as Jerry Cook almost loses his car, and looks, well, it seems like Jerry is quite a lot quicker than Kander per lap. So
he is, and this is very impressive, isn't it, considering Jerry Cook hasn't competed in GPVWC before. This is his first ever race, as penalty for James Taylor as well. And where was Taylor? Down in 20th, so that is not really going to affect the reverse grid draw. But we've seen Kamadi come into the pits and come out just ahead of Matthew Maple, I believe. So that's going to rage on then. Matthew Maple currently just ahead of Leno Raheem in that ever so crucial reverse grid pole. So Raheem has got quite the job to do. He wants to get back into that position.
Looks like a lot of people are getting penalties, and it looks like that wind is picking up because people can't stay on the road, it seems.
I think they're just getting
so-
desperate because it's now the final lap, isn't it?
Yeah. So here's Tom Lafont, Charlotte Manning, and Michael Falkenhayn still going at it. And Michael Falkenhayn maybe could overtake Tom Lafont himself again, as Tom can't really catch up with Charlotte Manning. So Falkenhayn wants to try again. Maybe it works out this time, but Tom Lafont now in Charlotte Manning's slipstream and tries to send it, but contact.
And there we go. That's fourth Charlotte Mennick wide, and they're almost going to go 3 wide into 5 and 6 here. Tom Lafont is still alongside, but he's on the outside of Charlotte Mennick, and up the inside of him comes Michael Falkenhayn. So very opportunistic from Falkenhayn, taking revenge on Tom Lafont. But Alexander Gonzalez Green is just a sector away from taking his first win in GPV Academy, Kurt.
Yeah, but still the position battle for P4 is still not clear. And here's Falkenhayn maybe in Forosol as Alexander Gonzalez Green gets his first win in Academy, but still it's all open for P5 and even P7. Who will fall in P7? But no changes to be made in position wise. Eugents put a really nice fight.
Tom Lafont was really trying to go around the outside of Falkenhayn at the Forest Sol. Oh dear. And it looks like a very upset James Taylor taking out his frustration on 4th, 5th and 6th all at once. As Gio Checo Soppinen is going to come through in 10th position ahead of Alfie Denley. What could Alfie have done if he hadn't jumped the start there? Scarpelli will be 12th, Reitberg 13th, Raheem 14th, and Slavev is going to cross the line in 15th then. So Samuel Slavev, after pitting for a new front wing at the start of the race, setting the fastest lap, is gonna, or he did, in fact, I think he still does have the fastest lap, 1:30.2, which was a tenth faster than Gonzalez Green's fastest lap. He is going to come into reverse grid pole ahead of Guzik, Maple, Razanayem, and James Taylor. Looks like Kamedi opted to retire near the end of that one.
Yes, indeed, Samuel Slavev got the fastest lap, so let's see what he can do in race 2, maybe even win it. But commentator's curse is a very powerful
Well, we need to
thing,
hope Denley doesn't jump the start again. Well, that's what happened to Taylor. We saw that, didn't we? He just decided to get a little bit too friendly after everyone crossed the line. Or maybe distinctly unfriendly is how I would describe that. I think Taylor probably a little bit annoyed about the fact that Maple hit him and is just looking for anybody to take his vengeance out on. I think Caitlin Penny did put it best. There's just way too much contact in GPV at the moment, and I think you would agree with me, Kurt, on the first lap there was a lot of unnecessary contact, which led to a lot of unnecessary retribution across the course of the race as everyone tried to find a car that looks somewhat like the person that hit them originally and get their own back, which I don't think is a healthy racing mindset to have necessarily.
So would you take the results, please?
With pleasure. So, a first win in Academy for Alexander Gonzalez Green, a man going from strength to strength at the moment in Grand Prix Virtual. Simon Kanda was just able to hold off Jerry Cook, who himself was very, very impressive in his first appearance, to take a podium on debut. Charlotte Mennick held off the attentions of Falkenhayn and Tom Lafont in a fantastic battle. Charlotte, I think Caitlin Penny said in the YouTube chat that Tom Lafont was her best friend there, and I think certainly helping her out by getting in Falkenhayn's way, as somebody went a little bit too fast into the garage there, and that's because he doesn't have a front left wheel or front wing, so it's Taylor just doing James Taylor things.
Yep.
Behind Tom Lafont in 7th was Adrian Senior. Then it was Jordan Weeks who recovered from that chaotic first corner. He started, of course, second or third on the road, I think it was. No, it was second, wasn't it? Got involved in the contact, but was able to recover up to 8th ahead of Kenneth Roting and Juho Checo Soppinen. So Weeks had a very, very impressive race himself. Alfie Denley, he jumped the start, had to serve a drive-through penalty, but came through to 11th ahead of Christian Scarpelli, who had pulled a few nice moves and just stayed out of trouble, did Christian. Martin Reitberg had to settle for 13th, just ahead of Leno Rahim, who got a penalty for breaking track limits. And then Samuel Slavev didn't give up, was able to inherit that reverse group pole when others hit trouble. Adam Guzik just missed out in 16th, to the tune of 5 seconds there behind Slavev. Then it was Matthew Maple, who was one of the drivers definitely taking revenge, and no prisoners whatsoever in race 1 out there. Mark Anthony Razanagayam was 18th. Eric Kamedi retired on the final lap, which meant he did not get reverse grid pole, which was a big shame for Eric. James Taylor decided to destroy his car in frustration. He finishes in 19th, a lap down. And then we've got our other non-finishers, Carl McManus and Krzysztof Piskolan, who retired at the very start of the race, I believe.
Yeah, so very exciting race 1. What do you think, Ed? How would you summarize race 1?
It's almost a shame we saw very little of Gonzalez Green, because it sounded like he put in a very, very good move on Kanda to retake the lead there. Didn't lose his head when he saw Alfie Denley steaming up the inside of him, and then Falkenhayn and Weeks attacking. He let them all get mixed up, just about avoided too much damage, and I think managed that beautifully. And Jerry Cook as well. Superb drive to shadow Kanda all the way. That top 3, very, very impressive. And of course, Charlotte Menick doing a very good defensive drive with Falkenhayn, able to just outfox Falkenhayn on the brakes, and and sort of back Falkenhayn into Tom Lafont. And then Tom Lafont had some fun getting past Falkenhayn as well. And like I said, Weeks and Weeks, Denley, and Slavev, the standout recovery drives for me, with Weeks probably being the most impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Race 1 was quite exciting. And yeah.
Maybe a little too exciting in places, but yes.
Yeah. It can't get more exciting than this, can it?
Race 2 is still to come, so let's not tempt fate, shall we?
Yeah. So let's see what happens in race 2 as we take a little briefer. And we are back for race 2 in Mexico for Academy Series, of course. So yeah, as we talked about before going into the break, it can't get much exciting or surprising. Let's see what happens in race 2, because now the top 15 of race 1 results are now switched over, reversed. So yeah, there could be more action. So yeah, let's see what happens. But what do you think, Ed?
Yeah, well, it's certainly a big opportunity for Slaviev, who didn't really get to do a whole lot. He didn't feature much in the coverage, but he did set the fastest lap of the race. And he's got a great opportunity to sort of make up for getting involved in that melee and being the main victim of it, and maybe going from victim to victor, as it were. But yeah, Samuel is going to have to be careful, especially that he doesn't get slipstreamed himself going into the first couple of corners, and he's got the Dutch driver Leno Rahim alongside him as well. Driver to watch out for. He's finished in 8th in race 1, and because the top 15 got flipped, he's going to start in 8th as well, and that's Jordan Weeks, who gained a load of positions across the course of the first race after dropping, I think, as low as 16th or 17th at one point. So I think Jordan Weeks could be one to watch, because he's got less ground to make up than the likes of Falkenhayn, Menick, Cook, Kander, and Gonzalez Green behind him.
Yeah, definitely we will see a lot of exciting...
And most importantly, of course, we need to see if Alfie Denley jumps the start again, because hopefully he doesn't, for his sake.
Don't curse him.
I think he's cursed himself there by making a mistake in the first place.
Yeah, but as we know, the commentator's curse is a very powerful thing, so...
Commentator's curse is what Rodrigo does when he gets too excited.
Oh yeah, he does it at the best.
Different kind of curse. Oh, and there's a poll in the YouTube chat, by the way. Who is going to lead at the end of lap 1? Samuel Slaviev, Lena Rahim, Martin Reitberg, or other? Let's see, I think I've gone for my pick.
So, will you take the grid?
Right, so Samuel Slaviev lines up on pole position with Lena Rahim alongside, and then it's Martin Reitberg and Christian Scarpelli, of course, rounding out the second row. Row 3, Alfie Denley and Juho Checo Soppinen. Row 4, Kenneth Roting and Jordan Weeks. Row 5 is made up of Adrian Senior and Tom Lafont from France. Row 6, Michael Falkenhayn ahead of Charlotte Menick. Row 7 is Jerry Cook and Simon Kander. And then row 8, it's race 1 winner, Alexander Gonzalez Green with Adam Guzik behind him. Row 9 will be Matthew Maple, who I think has gone into the pit lane. Mark Anthony Razanayagan. James Taylor and Eric Kamady make up row 10.
Someone's on the grass.
And then it's Carl McManus and Krzysztof Piziskolan that are round out the field. Piziskolan, okay.
Polish names.
This is the last name. There's a lot of consonants stuck together there. Looked a bit like Christian Scarpelli had a moment, but I think he's now collected it up and resumed in his 4th position. That will start on the grid then. Yeah, Matthew Maple in the pits, which will be a sigh of relief for those who we're going to start around him, I guess. And certainly doesn't mean we're in for a particularly unchaotic first corner, though, if the race 1 was anything to go by.
Yeah, already formation lap has surprised us with so many, some action. So, yeah.
Interesting. Caitlin Penny predicts a Scarpelli win for Christian Scarpelli. Of course, he got the podium in race 2 at Singapore, but a very different circuit here. So Scarpelli starting in 4th. If he keeps it clean, he might have a good chance of another top result here.
Yeah. As Summerslav almost stopped at the wrong grid box.
He's used to starting a lot further back, isn't he?
Yeah. Looks like so. As the final car is lining up on the grid now, with Krzysztof Pieszkolan, and interesting positioning.
I think he's overshot that starting blocks a little bit.
As
Oh,
the lights
too late
turn.
now.
Yeah, 5 red lights and let's go. Samuel Slaviv gets a nice start off the line as Lano Rahim almost said spinner, but Rahim is in the slipstream already of Slaviv and they are going 3 wide, almost, into turn 1. And Rahim has almost lost it. But,
He has. He's gone well off track there, and that's let Scarpelli through into second. Brilliant start from Christian Scarpelli, but...
and in the back, someone lost their front wing, but no further action, at least. But here, now, some action. Almost spinning around Juho Tcheko's opponent, but all clean for now.
Yeah, and you can see just behind Charlotte Menick and Simon Kanda going side by side as all. I think that was Tom Lafont involved in that one there, but it was one of the green cars. I think it might have been Adrian Senior spinning around there.
Yes, indeed, it was Senior, unfortunately.
Bit of a Senior moment, sadly. But, but anyway, Slaviev, of course, the Rahim having that big moment. Another big moment as Jerry Cook just about avoids that one. I think that was Lafont getting stuck into Eric Komedi there.
Oof. Jerry Cook really fighting the car. Yeah.
That's Matthew Maple going very, very slow. So Maple, who started from the pit lane, got ahead of a couple of cars and is now going very, very slowly as it looks like Kanda and Falkenhayn are fighting over 9th position as he right on board with Roting. He's got a run on the similar orange car of Martin Reitberg into turn 1. This is for 4th position. And look behind Alfie Denley. Fancy's getting in the middle of this scrap as well, right in the middle.
Who will come out in front? A bit of contact, but all good.
Well judged by Denley there, because he so easily could have drifted wide into Kenneth Roting there, but he just about kept his nose clean. He's got the run into turn 4. And he gets sandwiched, hit in the back by Martin Reitberg, and Alfie Denley drops to 10th.
Yeah, unfortunate set of events. It's something that Academy is well known for, but still really much action going on and no space really given as Alfie Denley was forced a bit on the grass.
And that was Simon Kanda that went a bit wide in the Yellow Academy car there. You just saw, which allowed Soppinen up to 8th then, or very briefly at least, because it looks like Kanda has been able to get back through. But Jordan Weeks, crucially, is up to 6th, right behind Martin Reitberg and Kenneth Roting then. So he's sort of inherited. Late move from Alfie Denley, and the rear tyres did not enjoy that one at all, because back through immediately goes Juho Tcheco-Soppinen. But that's Michael Falkenhayn he's been able to get in front of at least. So he tried to go for 2 moves, but only made 1.
Yeah, but Falkenhayn is in front of Alexander Gonzalez-Creed as we see Jordan Weeks trying to overtake Martin Reitberg into turn 1. So let's see who has better straight line speed. Of course, Jordan Weeks has the power of the slipstream, so now Jordan Weeks can send it as he has the inside line, and he's done it.
There we go. So Weeks continues to make good progress, and now it's Simon Kanda's turn to attack Martin Reitberg. Reitberg tries to push Simon Kanda to the very exterior of the road there, and then has to get into defensive position into turn 4, but Kanda has gone around the outside, and Reitberg really should have abandoned that one sooner, because I think he'd lost that battle, and now he's caused a massive pile-up as Kanda has a little half spin of his own. And look at how much the field's gotten completely mixed up there. I think Charlotte Menick and Jerry Cook have really lost out in that one.
Gonzalez Green as well, race 1 winner, has fallen down into P16, unfortunately.
Yeah, not the best driving then from Reitberg, I guess. He continues in 9th then, but he caused that sort of chain reaction behind. But meanwhile, up front, Slaviev is just checking out at the moment. 6 seconds clear of Lionel Rahim, who's holding off Christian Scarpelli quite convincingly. So 10 laps to go. This looks very, very good for Slaviev. And Jordan Weeks has got to make progress quickly if he wants to even finish on the podium here, because the gap up front is only going to extend at this point.
Yeah. Well, there are some possibilities for Alexander Gonzalez Green to maybe getting to the top 5 or top 10. But yeah, it's not excluded yet, so everything is possible, as we know.
Yeah, it depends how damaged he is. It looks like Charlotte Mennett got quite badly damaged in that turn 4 pile-up and is now 21st and last of those still running, with Aston Egayam already out at the end of the first lap, of course. And look at this, ahead of Jerry Cook. There's Gonzalez Green and Matthew Maple going very, very wide. So Maple is holding on to 14th, but he's just looked a little bit all over the place today. And I think Gonzalez Green is going to make very, very short work of Matthew Maple here.
And James Taylor now has fallen down the grid for some reason. So Menning is not the last. Oh, never mind.
Might have been a transponder issue or something there. But yeah, Carl McManus and Adam Guzik involved in what looks like a very tense battle, basically to not get the wooden spoon here. But as Slavev sets another purple middle sector 35.2, he's just absolutely posting away from everyone there as we look at Jordan Weeks, who's now caught up to Kenneth Roting with 10 laps to go then. And just ahead of Roting is Scarpelli, and then you can see Raheem not far up the road as well. So second is very much on the cards here for Jordan Weeks, as long as he can make these moves cleanly. And he's got a great run at Kenneth Roting.
Yeah, now 3-car fight for the last position of the podium. Are they going 3 wide? Yes, they are. And Scarpelli just lifts off. No hard feelings.
Seems like Scarpelli knew he couldn't really win that battle and decided discretion was... Oh, and he spins that over the sausage curb. So maybe Scarpelli's just struggling. That wasn't a clever tactical move. That was just Christian having a bit of trouble and then losing a bit of confidence there. But there we go. He has got going again in 7th position as Alfie Denley just squeaks through. Kenneth Roting used that slipstream from the back of Scarpelli well to set the fastest first sector of the race, 33.4. But certainly, as we see a big moment for Alfie Denley. So Scarpelli's going to try and go around the outside and does so, and that puts him back into 6th position. So very good. That was a little bit of good luck for the Italian after a lot of bad luck going over the curb. But essentially, now Weeks has got Kenneth Roting all to himself, and Raheem decides to defend thin air there in 2nd position.
Yeah, fighting the shadow of his own. So yeah, getting a bit mixed up, so just Raheem is warming up for defending, looks like. But
not a great exit from Roting. He's going to be very vulnerable here, but he is getting the toe from Raheem, which might help him out.
Yeah, but that toe isn't that powerful, it seems. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, looks to be that it's a slipstream train once more, and Jordan Weeks is having difficulties now to overtake Roting.
Yeah, no room in the first corner. As you see, something terrible's happened at the final sector to Eric Kamedi, who drops to 21st. But now Roting alongside Lionel Raheem. This is the fight for 2nd position as they go into turn 4. Oh, he's going to try and go around the outside. We've seen this go badly before. They make a little bit of contact. Roting is delayed, and just avoiding is Jordan Weeks, who cuts underneath him to try and make a move into turns 5 and 6. He gets the wheel alongside, but he's going to be on the outside for the S's here.
Very tight move, but nice drive by Jordan Weeks. As we know, Mexico track isn't the best track for overtaking, so really difficult to overtake here. Except for main straight, I would say. But yeah, still we are seeing quite nice battles and overtakes overall. Overall, no action. So
Jordan Weeks only 0.2 slower than Slavyev. Raheem in the 1:31.4s. Roting with the slipstream sets a 1:30.8, the same as Jordan Weeks essentially. And then we've got Kander in the 1:31.0s, who is starting to catch all of them as well. So the more they fight, the better this is for Simon Kander.
Now Jordan Weeks gets another chance at overtaking Roting, and this time Roting doesn't have really powerful toe, or has he?
A little bit more toe taken from Jordan Weeks, but not enough. And Weeks is just biding his time here because he knows Slavev is long gone. So this is the fight for second. I think this is probably the best that Jordan Weeks can hope for because Slavev is just a little bit too quick. If he'd not been taken out in race 1, we might be seeing 2 wins from Slavev here. You never know, but that's really aggressive to the outside, and Weeks knows that will give him the inside 4-5. And there we go. A little bit of contact as Roting just refuses to yield, but Jordan Weeks, by hook or by crook, and it looked fairly clean to me, has made it through into 3rd position.
Yeah, definitely. It's very hard to overtake here, but yeah, it's easy to defend. But yeah, looks to me that Roting just made a maybe mistake and left the door open for Jordan. As here we see Christoph Birschkollen and Jerry Cook going at it in the SS.
Oh, Reitberg in trouble. He's dropping down the order rapidly. There he is. You just saw him on the grass there, so he had a big moment at the S's there. And that means Reitberg is going to emerge in 15th position as Jerry Cook. Oh,
something has happened to Weeks.
Oh,
Jordan
no. Is there contact potentially between Roting and Weeks? And Raheem as well, because both Kanda and Denley are up to 2nd and 3rd now. It's a shame we can't see the replay of that.
Yeah, Roting is in the pits.
Roting and Weeks in the pit lane, and now Piziskolan are having to defend from Jerry Cook, who's just got the front wing alongside as they go towards the first corner. Piziskolan is getting very, very defensive, aggressively so into the first corner here.
It looks like Kenneth Roting and Jordan Weeks have both retired from the race, so something has happened.
That's a huge, huge shame because Weeks was looking very, very good. But of course, Alfie Denley has actually gotten in front of Simon Kanda now for 2nd position. So those two are going at it hammer and tongs. Looks like, oh, more trouble as Raheem is holding off Scarpelli. And it looks like, I think Soppinen and Tom Lafont lost a few places. Oh, there we go. Somebody spun around. That looks like Jerry Cook and Soppinen in trouble.
Let's replay. Yeah. We don't.
That's live footage, I think.
That's yeah, that's live.
That's okay. We don't mind if it looks weird. Right, okay. So this is Alfie Denley.
There's a replay, should be. Okay, now we see.
There we go. So he's attacking Raheem. Oh, tags Raheem round, then Weeks. Oh, and then into the wall goes Roting as well. So Roting was trying to avoid it, ended up being taken out, going for a tiny, tiny gap on the outside, and Weeks looks very frustrated with that one.
Yeah, Weeks got very frustrated by spinning out and just, yeah, gave up.
To me, he was the one that spun Raheem around there, so...
Yeah.
That was a little clumsy from Jordan.
Set of events.
And Piskolan is pit as well, which is a big shame for him. That drops him out of the battle with Jerry Cook. And so now, Samuel Slavev leads by 14.4 seconds from Alfie Denley, who's holding off Simon Kanda quite convincingly, actually. Kanda set a 1:34.0 last lap, Alfie Denley 1:31.3. So Denley is absolutely flying, albeit not as much as Slavev. Next fastest man on track, Gonzalez Green, who's up to 7th. You see him on screen at the moment, just challenging Falkenhayn for 6th in the battle, just behind Christian Scarpelli, who after that spin has actually recovered really well to get back up to 5th, and is only a 2.5 seconds behind Lenor Rahim, who's also lapping pretty similar lap times. Kanda, Rahim, Scarpelli, all in the 33s and 34s essentially as we go into the final 5 laps.
Yeah, still all to play for. So positions aren't locked in still, and
a lot of these cars might be nursing damage as well, especially some of the front runners that got caught up in the earlier incidents. Like Charlotte Menick is definitely nursing damage down in 14th behind Adrian Senior.
Can agree on that one. But yeah, is Falkenhayn on Christian Scarpelli? Is he going for it in turn 1 already? Yes, as Christian Scarpelli just lifts off and yeah, doesn't want to make the situation any way dangerous. So yeah.
Well, the other thing as well, if he's just going to lose time fighting these guys potentially in the race, and he doesn't want to, as you say, get into an incident. So Scarpelli trying to just be sensible. I think he's probably, will he be the same with Tom Lafont and Matthew Maple a few seconds behind? I think he might be a bit more defensive against Maple. Tom Lafont, a pretty similar pace to, maybe slightly slower, so I think he might put up more of a fight with Tom. But it's Christian versus Tom then for 7th position, as Gonzalez Green and Falkenhayn are now going to fight over 5th or potentially 4th if they can catch up to Raheem before the end of the race. As Kanda has gotten back within 9/10 of Alfie Denley then, so Alfie Denley is not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, still battles going on. A lot of battles, I should say. But yeah, we can't keep an eye on every battle we have right now. So as we see right now, we are being shown Alexander Gonzalez Green and Michael Falkenhayn kind of fighting, kind of not. I don't know.
They might be working together to catch Raheem at this point, and it certainly looks like Falkenhayn's pretty nippy down the straights anyway. So not making any mistakes for Gonzalez Green to take advantage of. But look behind, Tom Lafont fancies a run at Christian Scarpelli and gets through into the first corner there. So again, Scarpelli just does not have the straight line speed in a one-to-one battle.
And Christian Scarpelli is just taking it easy and trying to get this car home safely, as we saw him do the same in race 1.
He actually did pretty well in race 1. He was 12th on the grid, I think he finished, because that's where he started, of course. In the reverse grid, it was obviously 4th instead of 12th, essentially, but you know what I mean. And there's a yellow in the first sector, which doesn't look particularly promising for everyone behind. Yeah, so more issues then at the very rear of the field for Krzysztof, as Gonzalez Green now joining the fight with Lenor Raheem, and Raheem, after being bullied a little bit by Jordan Weeks, could well be suffering damage, as that was very close to the wall actually from Michael Falkenhayn.
Yeah, now Falkenhayn and Alexander Gonzalez Green get the slipstream of Raheem, but Alexander Gonzalez Green, I have a feeling that will overtake Falkenhayn first. Yes, indeed, and they are going 3 wide.
Yeah, now interesting. Right through the middle goes Gonzalez Green. Can he complete the double move here? Yes, he can. Absolutely superb racecraft there. And Raheem, to be fair, was very cooperative. It could have left a little less space if he wanted to be rude and crowd him out. And now it's Falkenhayn's turn as they come up towards turn 4. So, very late on the brakes from Raheem. Can he get that stopped in time? Oh, yes, he can. Fantastic from the Dutchman. And again, they're about to go 3 wide as Gonzalez Green gets crowded off circuit.
Oh,
and closes the door on Falkenhayn.
Yeah.
A bit of weaving from Alexander as well. He's not happy about that one.
A bit of contact in the hairpin between Green and Falkenhayn. So yeah, now they've lost some margin.
And there is about 3/10 behind Denley in the fight for second then, as they're about to start the penultimate lap, I believe.
I think they have started the penultimate lap last, so next one is...
Raheem is really struggling here on traction. You can see it visibly from Gonzalez Green's point of view. This should be a very, very straightforward move now.
Mexican Minister of Defense here. So yeah, now here comes Falkenhayn. They will go 3 wide once more.
Who's going to be latest on the brakes as Kanda has got through on Alfie Denley? You just saw the tail end of it in the background. Falkenhayn gets past Gonzalez Green, does he? Yes, he does. And now Alexander Gonzalez Green focuses on his exit. Look behind, Tom Lafont is joining this battle too. So it's a 4-way fight for 4th position. And Falkenhayn to the outside at turn 4.
Still nothing for clear. And here comes Falkenhayn doing a switcheroo, which doesn't work out really nicely. And contact between Lafont and Gonzalez Green, as Christian Scarpelli also joins the battle here for 4th.
Yeah, Raheem is just really holding them up here. It's a massive bottleneck effect into some of the slower corners here. And this is where Falkenhayn we saw his tentativeness. He really struggled on the late braking maneuvers. And this is clearly a strength for Leno Rahim, since he used it to get past Gonzalez Green, who's certainly no slouch on the brakes as we've seen. And look at that, Scarpelli getting very, very close now to the back of Tom Lafont, as Lafont goes very, very wide and actually holds up Christian Scarpelli here as they're about to start the final lap.
Nothing was sure here for battle for fourth, and here comes Falkenhayn having the slipstream of Rahim. Will he make the move now finally or not?
Here we go. How late's he going to get on the brakes, more importantly as well. Rahim has to tuck in behind, gets that little embers of slipstream, goes back to the inside, locks up, and they just about make the corner, both of them. And now Alexander Gonzalez Green is going to get a lovely toe on the pair of them as he nails his exit. He's right on the back of Falkenhayn as they go towards turn 4. And this is where it could be his last moment to get up into the top 4 here.
Is Gonzalez Green clear of Falkenhayn? Yes, he is. And almost loses it.
Oh, but I tell you who did lose it. I think it was Scarpelli in the background as well. Had an almost identical moment as the rear tyres are just crying enough, and he's dropped behind Matthew Maple down to 9th then. So big shame for Christian there.
Yeah, but is Alexander able to make the move before Forosol, which is the stadium here at Mexico, very famous? But is he going to send it green or not? This is one of the last. Well,
Slavev won the race. That's the point where you say that, Kert.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
my words have run
out.
out.
In the background. That's Lafont going for Falkenhayn. Round the outside, and he's going to fall just short. Heavy on the brakes for Rahim. Rahim ran out of fuel or something. He's just come to a dead stop there at the exit of the Nigel Mansell corner.
What's happened here?
That's such a shame. He had such a brilliant defensive drive there, and it's all come to nothing. So here we go. He's got the job done here on Gonzalez Green. And then the steering lock. Yeah, the wheel locks all the way to the left. I think that was a hardware failure, Kert.
Yeah, something failed. He went full lock left and the brakes are locked up, so something
that was so
failed.
Lucky that didn't cause a massive pile-up on the final corner of the race, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
I think Rahim is very sad about it now.
He's certainly not happy.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. But I'll tell you who is, Samuel Slavev, because he absolutely aced that. 17.5 seconds ahead of Simon Kanda there.
Ooh,
that was absolutely brilliant. And look, he's found the first place board.
This is the first thing we see.
That's that unique podium, isn't it, in Hermanos Rodriguez? Gonzalez Green is going to be like, nobody told me about this. And Kanda, he fancies P2 as well. Maybe he's going to do a Seb Vettel and steal the P1 board.
Oh, yes, Denley.
Denley.
This is really nice.
Yeah. Jumps the start, late to the podium.
And burnouts.
Of course, Alfie Denley has to be different.
Yeah. This is definitely not Formula 1, but it's hectic. But
that is the podium that F1 uses, so
yeah. So, will you take the results as well, please?
Sure thing. So, Samuel Slavev, a fantastic victory then for Samuel is for the Bulgarian. Is that his first in GPV Academy? It is. His previous best result coming into today was a P7, of course, at France, and he's absolutely smashed that out of the water with some brilliant pace there. Simon Kanda gets past Alfie Denley at the end to steal the second of runners-up spot, but Denley redeems himself for his jump start in race 1 by holding on to a final spot on the podium. Alexander Gonzalez Green had a great fight through the field and just took 4th in the end. Unfortunate, of course, for Lena Rahim, who held on to 4th for so long there and was just denied with a hard wheel failure with 1 corner to go. Falkenhayn holds on just to 5th from Tom Lafont, who had a last-minute attack there. Matthew Maple gets, I believe, 6th position behind Falkenhayn because, the timing is completely messed up here, showing Lafont and Maple in 6th position. So I can only assume there's either a race view malfunction or Yeah, it shows Tom Lafont 6th, Matthew Maple 7th, so we'll just stick with that. Christian Scarpelli finished 8th. Yuko Checo-Sopanen finished 9th. And then Jerry Cook, the American, rounds out the top 10 on a very impressive first showing from Cook. Martin Reitberg finishes 11th ahead of Charlotte Menick, but only by a 10th of a second. I think Lafont was so close to Falkenhayn and Menick was so close to Reitberg that's why the timing has not been able to keep up here. Adrian Senior finishes P13 ahead of Adam Guzik, and then a lap down after that, not being able to cross the finish line due to the wheel failure, was Lena Rahim. Carl McManus also retired. Then it was James Taylor, Keith Cullen, Kenneth Roting, Jordan Weeks, and Eric Kamedi, all failing to make the finish for various different reasons, along, of course, with Mark Anthony Rasanagayam. Okay. My nose is completely gone because it's October and the middle of autumn, so the weather's horrible, and I can't pronounce names I've not seen before today. I have 18 different consonants and vowels, so it's a bit of a trouble for me. So I'm doing the best I can, and I wasn't even supposed to be commentating today, Kurt. So
I know.
Maybe you can get your friend Rodrigo to do a better job. I didn't even swear once, So, I'm getting angry now because you're having a go at me over guy's last name that I think I got mostly right. So
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, shall we interview some drivers then?
Yeah. Maybe we start from Samuel Slavov, the winner of race 2.
I say let's do that. So we're now joined by Samuel Slavev, who has taken his first ever win in GPV Academy. Of course, Samuel, race 1, not going to plan with the horrible first corner. You had to pit for a new front wing, but you showed amazing pace, got to reverse group pole P15 after late trouble for those ahead of you, and you took absolute full advantage in race 2. You got to the first corner first, and then we didn't really see anything of you because you just disappeared off into the distance to the tune of 17.5 seconds. So congratulations, Samuel. A fantastic drive and a deserved win.
Thank you, Edward. I tried my hardest. Race 1 was pretty unlucky. I had a decent start, but then the crash happened. I originally didn't get damage until the purple car, which I think was Charlotte Menink, I'm not sure, hit me. I went into the wall, and then I just full pushed, and I got like the best pace and fastest lap, and I got into P15 in the last lap, I think. And yeah, for my race 2, my plan was to just stick it up the inside because I know Lana Rahim. He's a fast person on iRacing, and I just wanted to defend. He made a small mistake by oversteering, and then as you said, I just disappeared.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not sure if it was Charlotte Menick. It might have been Lane. Lane is in a pink car as well. James Taylor too, along with yourself, of course. We know it wasn't you, so that narrows down the list of suspects. But yeah, I think Menick was right alongside you on the starting grid, so probably that makes her sort of obvious candidate to blame. Although I don't want to blame Charlotte because she's one of my drivers. So,
yeah,
but
it's okay. It's okay. Race 1.
But anyway, obviously. You had a bit of you were learning as the season went along, and you had obviously your academy career at the start of the season. You had a load of DNFs, didn't you, in a row?
Yeah, like 8 in a row. Every time, every race to get taken out. Very unlucky. It's just, I guess, beginner's unluck for me. I don't know what to say, but now I'm starting to do better. I think I was fastest overall for both of the races. No ego or anything. I just, based on the laps you guys saw, like race 1, very consistent, low 30s. I could do the same for race 2, but
I think you set 130.2 in race 1, 130.033 in race 2 was your best lap. So in both cases, the fastest lap. I think you just stole it from Gonzalez Green in race 1. So and certainly, do you think it was Hermanos Rodriguez that just suited you today, or do you think it's genuinely just the improvement you've been going on race by race in Academy?
Yeah, I think it's the improvement race by race. I absolutely hated this track. The first laps I did, I was like, I'm not gonna drive this weekend. Uh, it's not fun. I didn't like the sausage curves. Like the setup was off. But then I got a tank Remco. He gave me a setup. I tweaked it a bit to my personal preferences, and I was very confident in the car. Like I think I could have done like whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. So I was pretty happy with the setup and everything.
Right, Kurt, did you have any questions for Samuel before we let him go?
No, no questions. You took every question of in my head, so you said them all. But congratulations on
If
your
an FS2
win.
owner is watching, please sign me for Brazil. I'm gonna be practicing. This is my shot. This is my shot, please.
Well, there's
Yeah,
a lot of
I'm not
teams that need some reserves at this phase of the season. They're just trying to get to the end of it. So I'm sure you're going to be near the top of the list, Samuel. But thanks for coming to talk to us, and congrats on your first win in Academy. Always remember your first win, and hopefully the first of many to come.
Yeah, thank you, Edwards. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate this a lot.
Right. So with Samuel leaving the commentary box, I guess, shall we talk next to the man who finished second in both races, actually, Simon Kanda?
Yes, indeed.
So we're now joined by Simon Kanda, of course, who held off Jerry Cook in race 1 to take second position, and then repeated the feat. Got past Alfie Denley to take second in race 2. So Simon, obviously no victories this time, and off the back of a very impressive FS2 showing you had for which team was it? It was it Excellion? It was a yellow one. It was a yellow one.
ST Racing, yeah.
ST, okay, not yellow at all.
Yeah.
Replacing me.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But anyway, my point that I'm trying to make is that you're on something of a roll, and that was 2 very, very good races, even though obviously the leader was a bit out of reach in both cases, but you were defending very, very well from a very quick Jerry Cook in race 1, and then you were on the attack in race 2, getting past out Alfie Denley there. Unfortunately, we were seeing the 4-way fight behind you, so we didn't see a whole lot of it, but it looked like a very good move from the back end we saw of it.
Yeah, race 1, honestly, it was like just a normal race, to be honest. Like, I think, to be honest, I just got lucky that race with the
normal.
Yeah, the start really helped me out there. It was because I somehow led, from lap 1, which is I didn't expect, starting from P6, but yeah, that quickly faded away. I mean, Alex was just flying, gone by lap 3, so there was no chance of me at all catching up to him. So then I had to defend my life against was it Jake? I think was it Jake in P2, P3? I forgot.
It was
I had to
Cook.
Jerry
Cook.
Jerry Cook. Yeah.
Common Jerry.
Yeah, I literally had to defend my life against him. I couldn't at all. Like, my tires were absolutely dead. I don't know how he couldn't pass me, but yeah, it was just, I think I saw him make a couple mistakes in my rear view, so I think that's what kind of benefited me there in race 1. Race 2, on the other hand, I think a bit more of a better performance, starting from P14. Again, a lot of crashes happened in front of me. I got pretty lucky again. Yeah, so it was easy to overtake drivers, and then I just had the final couple lap battles with Alfie Denley there. Secured P2 again. So yeah, missing out on the win, but I'll still take it. A podium's a podium.
Yeah, certainly was some very, very good performances by you today, Simon. And Kurt, do you have any questions for our second place man who's looking for another win desperately in Academy?
No questions, but Jimon, I'm proud of you, what you did in Kota, and congrats on the day.
Yeah, I mean,
and you know what? I'm proud to.
Slipped away.
I have to say, I am proud. The only thing is I wish you'd done it in Singapore, but the rain didn't help in that scenario, so I can understand you're up against it. But yeah, it's great to see a former Honda Birch driver succeeding no matter when and where they do it. So well done, Simon, and we hope that 4th Academy win is going to come in the finale at Brazil in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you.
2 weeks, to be exact.
A couple. I think 2 is implied by a couple, but thanks for clarifying, Kurt. But
it will come.
Anyway,
it will come.
Yeah, well, Brazil will certainly come, and let's hope victory comes with it. Then, well done, Simon.
Thank you.
Right now, shall we invite in the man that had that heartbreaking finish to race 2, Leno Rahim.
Yes, indeed.
So we're joined now by the man who had a somewhat quiet race 1, finishing P14, of course. And then in race 2, starting from second on the grid, it was defending all the way through Lenor. You had so many scrapes. They were attacking you. They were clawing all over you, and you held them off. You had Gonzalez Green, the winner of race 1, attacking him in the closing stages. You thought you had the job done, and then all of a sudden, the steering locks to the left-hand side, and there's that heartbreaking image of you just stationary after what had been a brilliant performance that really deserved that 4th place. My heart goes out to you, Leno. What happened?
Well, my TMX just decided to die, and then I realized what had happened. It was very unfortunate. I did an amazing job defending from all the guys behind. Yeah, unfortunate for them, but I was the Minister of Defense.
That's what Kert said in commentary.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I said that.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't really know what to expect from the race. I was starting in P2, you know. I wasn't supposed to be that high up, but then I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna try and finish on the podium. Unfortunately, I was P4, but you know, I gave it my best and I defended very, very well.
You did indeed. I think there's 2 flashpoints to talk about. Shall we briefly address race 1, because you got a penalty near the end of race 1 that was a little bit scary for you, because potentially that could have dropped you out of reverse grid contention altogether. Was that just for breaking track limits too many times?
Yeah, that was just track limits.
And the second thing I was going to ask was in race 2, when you had Jordan Weeks attack you at one point. That was a really frightening moment where you just about wrestled for control, and Weeks ended up effectively taking himself out of the race. What was your read on that one?
Yeah, I want to apologize to Weeks for that. I didn't know he was going to send it into the crowded section, but unfortunate that we had to crash into each other. But yeah, I still managed to recover from it. And then all of a sudden, Kenny kind of just crashed into the pit lane wall.
Oh, we must have missed that on stream. Oh, that's what happened to routing then, I guess.
You guys should have captured that. It was pretty funny.
Well, we're reliant on Josh's cameraman skills. To be fair, he does a pretty good job. We did get the replays working after some effort, so
Yeah, exactly.
so thank you very much to Josh on that one. But Kurt, any questions for Lenor before we let him go?
No questions, but yeah, unfortunate set of events on the final corner. You'll come back stronger, I hope.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I just want to say one thing. I want to say congratulations to the top 3. They all did an amazing job finishing in the top 3. You know, they deserve it.
That's
That's all
very
I wanna
gracious
say.
of you, Lenor. And yeah, you may be feeling obviously gutted right now, but I think everyone was really, really impressed by your defensive driving. It's obviously all the big dramatic overtakes get all the attention, but just being able to hold people off at bay, people do notice that. So don't feel too disheartened. You've done an amazing job today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
thank you,
definitely
guys.
did a very nice job, and yeah, a lot of team owners saw what you did, so you did enough.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I mean, that was really impressive. I didn't really expect to defend that well, but I'm the Minister of Defense, I could say, you know.
Yeah.
Only in
You can see
Mexico,
that.
my friend. Only in Mexico.
No, maybe in other races, we have to see.
What
Well,
stays
we
in
will.
what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico.
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I think we'll let Lane or Raheem leave the commentary box, and I think we've probably got time for just 2 more. Shall we go for Alfie Denley next?
Yep.
So we're now joined by Alfie Denley. Of course, a bit of drama at the start of race 1, Alfie. You jumped the start and did take the lead very, very briefly. Unfortunately, it then turned into somewhat of a mess, race 1. You recovered to 11th in the end. It was still a very good comeback drive. And then race 2, you were running second for quite a lot of it before Simon just picked you off with a couple of laps to go, and you ended up having to settle for 3rd. So all in all, another podium. You after difficulty, after that jump start, you definitely redeemed yourself. So You got to be somewhat satisfied with that.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that finish. I think race 1, I accidentally pressed the shifter, which made me jump, so I just continued going. Then Alex shoved me wide, and then there was a big crash in front of me. Then, what is it? I think I rejoined P18. Then Matthew Maples took out, I think, who was it? I forgot. Then finished P11. Then race 2, I got up to P2. Then I got punted by, I don't know. Then I came back up, overtook Simon. Then my bum started burning a bit. Then Simon overtook me.
Yeah, it was a good little battle between you two. I'm trying, because so much happened. It's a little bit difficult to remember. I think you were in that because you were sort of in that kind of midfield pack. There was it was definitely one. I think it was a green car. I think it might have been Adrian Senior potentially, or Falkenhayn that made contact with you in race 2 there. And in race 1, I think it was James Taylor that I think Matthew Maple spun out for no good reason in particular, it seemed, because I don't think James Taylor very much stayed away from Matthew Maple up to that point, and Matthew decided to commit some kind of atrocity essentially by pit maneuvering him. But yeah, certainly you certainly drove very, very well on track. The only blot on the copy, I think, is that jump start. If it wasn't for that, I think it would probably be a very good showing in both races 1 and 2 in the top 10. But of course, do you think it was possible to beat Simon today, or did Simon just have too much pace in him?
I was faster than Simon in tile, when we were practicing, but I think every time I race, my bum always just starts to burn at the end of the race too.
Is that physically just your reaction to being under pressure, or is that the room temperature is too hot?
Oh no, it's just every time I do racing.
Okay, right. It's an ergonomic issue then. You need to get a cooler seat or a fan or something. It's odd in the middle of October, but I guess they'll be getting quite cheap at this time of the year. But anyway, I think that's about all the questions I had. So Kert, do you have any questions for Alfie about his race?
Nope, but congrats.
Thank you.
I didn't think you would have one, Kert, but I thought I'd just throw you nonetheless. But anyway,
yeah.
So I guess Brazil coming up next, Alfie. Just your thoughts going into the final Academy round of the season.
I'm excited for the final round. Just hopefully I can get a win this time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what your best results have been. I think you didn't you get the P2 at Singapore in race 2 there? So you've been following up race 2s consistently with some good results then. So you're definitely becoming a bit of a reverse grid master, dare I say, the Bobby Vakin of GPV Academy then. So certainly we'll be looking for you in that reverse grid at Brazil. Do you think the race 1s could be getting a little bit better, or do you think it's just a matter of the qualifying's good, you just need to, avoid some of those mistakes there to finish better in race 1?
I think I need to transfer my pace into race 1 to quality as well. Because, I sometimes push too hard, then I spun in race 1 curb. I think one of the yellow curbs.
Yeah, you weren't the only one to be caught out, but certainly they were pretty vicious, and they're going to prove to be vicious. Well, actually, they won't, because none of the other categories are racing here. But they proved to be vicious in the past, is what I'm getting at. But yeah, anyway. So congrats on the podium, Alfie. Let's hope you can make it 3 race 2 podiums in a row into Lagos, or indeed get a race 1 podium. You never know; things might go your way.
Hoping that happens.
Anyway, thanks for your time, and we'll see you in Interlagos.
Yeah, bye.
Right, so as Alfie Denley leaves the commentary box, that's all the drivers we've got time for, Kert, then. So I think probably time for you to sign us off then, after a very dramatic pair of races in Mexico.
Yeah, so this was round 17, aka the penultimate round of the 2024 GPVWC Academy Series. And yeah, I would say pretty action-packed 2 races, and of course qualifying. here in Mexico, and we have signed a new Mexico defense minister. So, so yeah, I would say everything went according to plan, and yeah, everything is nice. So me and Ed, we thank you for tuning in and listening to us about our gibberish or something like that. And thank you for Joshua for getting the replays to work and doing cameras overall. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Yeah.